Find product links below and hundreds more videos on my channel.
Ciao bella, cappuccino, cazzo fai? Grazie. Hey guys, I'm in beautiful Milano, Italy, and so this is a really small town on Lake Como, and we're doing a commercial project for some houses here, so basically promotional video. And what I'm doing here is I'm doing some time lapses. This is one of the major pieces of equipment that we're using here, and this is one of the main reasons I was hired for this job. So we're doing some really nice time lapses with some motion in them. And so this, I'd like to give a review of this. I'd like to mention that I've mentioned this before. I don't work for Konova. I've never been paid by Konova. I make a lot of videos about their products because I like using their products, and I buy a lot of their products, and I also sell them when they don't work for me anymore. I've had 3 of their sliders now. I've had 2 motion control kits from them, and a bunch of other little things, I think, like a dolly, I think, and what else? Maybe some other stuff. And okay, so I haven't done an actual review about my previous motion control kit. I did some tutorials about it, and I'll do some tutorials about this kit. And the difference between the 2 kits are that this kit has the motion control head and the other kit didn't. So you can consider this a review of both because they are they're basically identical, except that this one has a little joystick here. Sorry if I'm not keeping the camera straight. So this has a little joystick here, and then that's the main difference. That and the fact that joystick is for controlling this. So apart from that, please do consider this a review of both those systems. The one that isn't with the motion control head as well. So review-wise, I like this system. I think it's great, and it has potential issues. Most of them aren't an issue with the system itself. Just things that I wish could have been better, but that aren't really like a problem. It's going to be very similar on other systems too. So for example, weight. I would have loved a system that's really, really lightweight, and that's unfortunately just not going to happen. It needs a system, like it needs a big motor to move a heavy camera. That's just a fact I have to live with. And so I would have liked something really lightweight, and I may switch over to one of the smaller systems, just weight-wise, especially if I have to travel to other countries like I have here. This did add a noticeable amount of weight to what I had to carry. So it's a strange mix between, it's something you guys have to decide for yourselves what's best for you, and I may end up having 2 different kits, one which is lightweight and one which is like the proper big kit. So with regards to quality, everything is as I would expect, very decent, with a few issues that aren't really, actually the only quality issue I've noticed, and this applies to both systems I've had, is that this junction box feels like it could be stronger. And so it's just the connection points where I think, it just should feel like some sort of really, really super solid unit. And neither one of my units have broken on me, so it's holding up. But it just feels like if you were rough with it, it might break a socket. Yeah, that's one thing that I guess could be improved. And that's basically it. That and the weight are things that I would like to see improved in the future. Another thing is I would love to see if Konova could in the future make a system that was computerized, meaning you can control it via an iPad, and you can do like something where you can tell it to aim at a certain place and then aim at a certain other place exactly and tell it to time that perfectly, or that kind of thing. And that kind of system isn't available anywhere near this price point, so I'm not sure if Konova can do it. If they can, that would be lovely, but right now there's nothing even remotely close to this price point that could do that, like a real proper computerized system. So at the moment, at this price point, this is fantastic value, and the The drawback is that you have to work with numbers. So for example, let me turn this on. For example, what I mean by numbers is, let's say I want a time lapse, then I just tell it to do, rather than tell it go from here to here in 12 minutes, I have to tell it to do, let's say I go into interval move, and then I tell it, I want you to do this certain speed, I want you to do this many photos, and I want you to wait this so-and-so length of time before you do that, like in between each shot. Now actually let me reset this. Yes. Okay. So, time lapse. And then what again, to control the motor here, let's say we go into pan motor, so that controls this, so it's the left, right. And again, we just tell it, which direction we want it to go in, and we tell it sort of what angle we want it to move each time that it does a shot. And I'm not actually sure if these angles are accurate, but I suppose they should be. I'm not really sure. And then, so in the same menu again, the total cut. So cut in these menus means an image, a shot. So the total cut, so how many pictures we want it to take. And this means that we can tell it to do 100 shots across the length of the slider, but we want it to stop panning at 50 shots. So that or we can also tell it to start panning after 50 shots. So that's the delay here. So we can tell it to do, let's say, 100 shots over the length of the slider as it moves. And then we tell it that we want it to delay the pan by 50 shots, which means it'll get halfway and then start panning or tilting or whatever. So basically you can do a lot with this and really, really lovely shots, but you can't aim this, like you can't do like let's say a controlled move with the joystick, moving this to the right position and then telling it to do that move again. That's something that requires a system that's way, way, way more complicated than this and way more expensive. But it would be lovely to see Konova do that in the future. However, I wouldn't wait for it. If you need a motion control system, I wouldn't wait for Konova to make something like that, because if they do that in the future, I don't think it'll be anytime soon, because that is a really, really complicated thing. So the menu here works very well. Right now, I've already posted a video about how to use this menu with the older system, which didn't have the joystick, and this menu is almost identical. I'll post another video about this specific system, but it's basically almost identical, except it has the added features of the motion control head. Now the motion control head is very, very solidly built, which is great. It's also quite heavy, which is not ideal for what ideally I'd want a lightweight one, but unfortunately they do need big motors so that it's able to move a big camera, and move it at weird angles and stuff like that. You do need strong motors for that. And one issue with the fact that it does have strong motors is that you have to be extremely careful with the move that you're doing. I would not leave this system alone, and I would be very careful when you're doing a live move, because if you turn this the wrong way, like if right now if I told it to turn right, to pan right, I could break this. Or if I told it to pan down and I wasn't paying attention, I could break the camera because the lens would hit that. So that's something that you have to pay attention when you're using this. You have to be careful with this system. It's not a toy. It's most professionals would understand that it's not something you buy to play around with. It's something you buy to be really careful with and then do those shots very carefully. Now, regarding live motion, I'm going to actually show you this. You can use this. I mean, sort of. It has potential to be used for live motion, but it's not really for live motion. And I would not attempt to create any live motion shots with this, because it's overly complicated for a live motion shot. I would get my fluid head, I would get a good fluid head on a slider and a good tripod, and I would do my live motion. And with a good fluid head And the weight system, I'll have a link below. Have a look for the weight video below. There's a weight system which allows me to do amazing shots with a slider and a fluid head without any motorization, which is fantastic. So this is not what I would recommend for live motion. If you're thinking about something that will do some sort of strange live motion shots with a motorized system, this isn't what I would recommend. Let me show you what it can do. Basically, there is the option to, let's go into live motion. So let's go into, now it does have the option here for to move and slide, to sort of move the head and slide at the same time. However, I haven't figured out a way to really use those two together well. It's sort of, the controls are a bit confusing because ideally you'd want two joysticks for that. Yeah, but let's go into, let's say, first of all, let's move the slider. Change the slider speed to 100%. Now regarding speed, I'm using the slowest motor here. I have had a pretty fast motor from them before. For this one I went for the slow motor. Okay. Now as you can see, the menu isn't too difficult to use. And once you sort of know the system, it took me a very short amount of time, maybe like a day of using it or so, and I got really used to using the system and going to where I want to go. So it kind of looks complicated, but it's not. You get used to it very, very easily. And so as you can see, this slow motor isn't too slow. Again, you have to pay attention to what you're doing here, and you have to pay attention to where the cables are, and where the pan head is, so that you don't end up ripping something. Like right now you could end up, like if I wasn't paying attention here, I could have ripped the socket out, or I could have whatever. So you have to be careful with this system. So basically you can do sort of, you know, live motion here. It does have something very nice, which is sort of a ramp, which as you can see, if I go into here, it starts slowly and then slows down. So it has sort of a slow start and a slow stop, a gradual stop. And so that's nice that it has that, but you should ideally, I would recommend turning it off. So here, for example, that's RF here, that's a ramp frame. So if I was to set this to 100, then let's go to tilt speed, set that to 100, and pan speed. Now by the way, when you can move these one by one, or if you hold it, it moves 10 by 10. And I think if you wait for a while, then on some areas it'll start going 100 by 100. So okay, so we start, and so as you can see, it starts and stops. After I let go, it still sort of slows down a little bit. I would recommend to always turn this off, because all you need to do is not pay attention for 1 second, or be 1 second slow with paying attention to what you're doing. And if this, let's say you realized you got a bit too close to this, tilting downwards, and then you let go of that, and you didn't let go fast enough, that is still doing your move because it wants to slow down gradually. And at that point, your lens is going to hit the metal here. That's not good. That's happened to me before. I got this and it was late at night. I wasn't really paying attention, and I was just playing about with it just because, you know, it's a pretty cool new toy. And I was so lucky. Luckily it wasn't an expensive lens. It was a lens that cost me 100 something, and so I luckily only broke a bit of the plastic on the lens rather than rip my entire lens off the camera or something. So I was very lucky, and since then I've been extremely careful with this, and I'm not going to, it's not something that I would recommend for live motion, because for live motion, Konova does an amazing job when you put a fluid head on it, and an even better job when you put a weight system. Again, the weight system will be, there'll be a link to that video down below. It's already been online for a while now. A bunch of you would have probably already seen it. So for time-lapse, this is fantastic. It's a beautiful system that can do some amazing moves, and I'm really happy with what this has been giving me. And I find that this system is easy to use. Once you learn the menu, it's not too difficult. Once you learn the menu, it does a really good job for me. And it's actually it looks kind of complicated, but it's actually pretty damn easy to set up, pretty quick to set up. Normally, the whole time-lapse kit is done in set up in about 10 minutes. And again, this pretty easy to use once you get used to it, and overall it just works really well. And they've designed it in a way where it's very versatile, so you can run it off batteries, you can run it off AA batteries in emergency, which is great because no matter what country you're in, you can just buy those pretty easily. And of course you can run it off the AC, off a wall power, in case you need to, so that you can do really long time lapses. And yeah, so basically, I'm very happy with this system. It's something that I'd really recommend, and as far as I know, there's nothing available that's even remotely close to this value. And I think the closest, don't quote me on this, I may be wrong, I think the closest I know of is a Kessler system, and that's just a way higher price point. I mean, like, I couldn't afford that, unfortunately, at the moment. So I don't know of anything that even comes close to being this awesome. And yeah, so I'll keep you guys updated, let you know how I get on, because I'm gonna look for a second system that's really compact. I want something that will allow me to travel really easily, as well as something that will give me a really good sort of like a system like this. So this will be like the big pro system that I would take for really big jobs, and then something that I can just take with me in the bag for simple time-lapse slider moves and stuff like that. So I'll keep you guys updated, and thanks for watching. Hope you found this helpful, and don't forget to subscribe and check out my other videos, and I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.